So to start off today, I want you to picture a highly specific scene for a second. Just, you know, imagine the moment a Great Pyrenees puppy first walks into a new home.
Oh yeah, they're quite the sight.
Right. I mean, you've probably seen pictures of them.
Hmm.
They have these like massive, oversized paws that just don't quite match the rest of their tiny body yet.
Yeah, totally out of proportion.
Exactly. And a coat that is so incredibly white and um, impossibly soft. It almost looks unreal, like a
Yeah.
stuffed animal. So they're clumsy, they're sleepy, but there's this, I don't know, this strange, quiet calm about them, even when they're that young.
Yes, very observant.
Right. So this fluffy puppy wanders into your living room, completely bypasses the expensive basket of squeaky toys you bought,
Yeah.
sniffs a few corners, and then does something very specific.
Uh-huh.
It finds a doorway, or maybe like the bottom of the staircase,
Yeah.
and it just lies down across it, like it's already claiming a post.
It's a striking image, really. And what we are exploring today in this deep dive is that, well, that specific behavior is absolutely not an accident.
Not at all.
No. When that puppy lies across the doorway, you are witnessing the very beginning of a guardian. And the stakes are, they're incredibly high here. Every single interaction you have with this animal in its early months is, laying the architecture for the adult dog's judgment.
Wow. The architecture of its judgment. I like that.
Yeah, because whether you realize it or not, you are building the foundation for how this dog will literally perceive the world.
And, whether you're a dog owner, a psychology buff,
Mm.
or just intensely curious about how things work, you are really going to want to stick around for this. Because what we're looking at is essentially a masterclass in how environment shapes deep-seated genetic instincts.
Right. It's not just basic training.
No, it's almost like looking at a piece of cute, fluffy hardware that comes pre-installed with an ancient, highly complex software operating system. You might see a soft, cuddly puppy on the outside, but inside, that guardian software is just like waiting to boot up.
Waiting to boot up, exactly. But the challenge is that this independent guardian doesn't just wake up on its first birthday fully formed and ready to work.
Right. It doesn't just magically happen.
No, it has to be built. And before we even look at the dog's behavior, we actually have to look at the environment it's placed in, because this breed interacts with physical space very differently than other dogs do.
Yeah, and right from week one, it seems like owners tend to get that environment totally wrong.
Oh, completely.
Like they either overdo it or underdo it, right? Overdoing it is when you get this adorable puppy and you immediately parade it around to like every single neighbor, every relative, every dog on the block, just, massive sensory overload.
Which is so common. Everyone wants to show off the new puppy.
Right. But then the other extreme underdoing it is just leaving the puppy alone in a crate all day to figure things out in total isolation, which is also bad.
Yeah, neither extreme works. And the mechanism for why they fail comes down to baseline calibration.
Baseline calibration.
So what this specific puppy needs in those early days is an environment of profound calm. They need like a predictable sleeping space, a very consistent feeding routine, and gentle supervised exploration of the house.
Gentle being the key word there.
Exactly. And crucially, a toileting routine that begins immediately, because you aren't just teaching a trick, you are setting the baseline for what normal feels like in their nervous system.
Oh, wow. So you're literally wiring their baseline.
Yes. If their
Yeah.
baseline is chaos, they grow up anxious. If their baseline is isolation, they grow up fearful of novelty.
That makes so much sense. And it sets up this really fascinating dynamic with how we establish physical boundaries in the home. Like the research we looked at emphasizes that boundaries have to matter immediately. Like day one.
Day one, absolutely.
Doors must be closed properly. Gates must actually latch. Because if a gate doesn't fully click shut, it might not matter to a 10-pound puppy, but it's going to matter a lot in 8 months.
What's fascinating here is the underlying psychology of the fence, or really any boundary. To a guardian breed's mind, an unclear boundary isn't just a physical gap in the wood or the wire.
What is it then?
To them, an unlatched gate is unfinished business.
Unfinished business.
Yeah, the guardian mind cannot ignore an unresolved perimeter. So even at the puppy stage, if there is an area where this dog is going to spend time outside, that fence needs to be secure enough to hold a large, strong, highly motivated dog.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second, because I have to admit, I'm a little skeptical here.
Sure.
I mean, I'm looking at a potato with legs, a clumsy ball of fluff that literally trips over its own paws.
True, they are very clumsy.
All right, so you're telling me this potato is like performing a threat assessment of a broken latch why do I need fort-level security right now? Isn't setting up a heavy-duty fence at this stage really just about training the human to get into good habits before the dog gets big?
Well, it is partially about human habits, that's true, but it is deeply tied to the puppy's neurological mapping of its territory.
Chronological mapping. Okay.
Yeah, you aren't just building a physical barrier, you are teaching the dog what the perimeter actually is. A puppy learns through trial and error, right?
Right. Like any baby animal.
Exactly. So if it learns early on that boundaries are fluid, or that pushing a nose against a weak gate makes it pop open, that successful breach creates a very strong neural pathway.
Oh, I see.
It becomes a core part of its understanding of the world. By the time it has the physical mass to really test that fence, the mental habit of respecting the boundary needs to already be ironclad.
Because if it's not,
If they learn early that fences are negotiable, they will spend their entire adult life negotiating with your fence.
wow. Which completely changes the whole perspective. We aren't just like locking them in. We are defining their universe for them so they don't have to worry about the edges of it.
That's a great way to put it, yes.
So if that establishes the physical boundaries of the home, I guess the logical next step is looking at the physical boundaries of the dog itself. And this requires fighting some very strong, very common human instincts.
Oh, definitely. When people know they have a giant breed puppy, the human instinct is to, want to see it get huge.
Right. It's almost like a point of pride.
Exactly. They think, oh, this is going to be a massive dog. Let's feed it a high-calorie diet. Let it eat whatever it wants. Let's watch it grow.
But the sources say that's a massive misconception. I mean, the genetics of the Great Pyrenees dictate that this dog will be huge no matter what you do. It's literally written in their DNA.
Yes, you can't stop it from getting big.
Right. So the goal is actually steady, controlled growth, not maximizing speed. I kept thinking about it like a skyscraper under construction.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, like you wouldn't rush pouring the concrete or setting the steel framework just because you're eager to see a tall building. If you rush the frame, the whole thing is fundamentally compromised.
The mechanics of that skyscraper analogy are incredibly accurate. Let's look at the joints, specifically the hips and elbows.
Okay.
In a giant breed puppy, those joints are largely made of soft cartilage, and the growth plates at the ends of their long bones are open and vulnerable.
And they're going to have to hold up a lot of weight eventually.
Exactly. They are eventually going to be carrying immense weight, sometimes upwards of 120 pounds. So if you encourage rapid growth, the muscle mass, and the body weight, they basically outpace the skeletal development.
Ouch, that sounds bad.
It is. You are putting severe shearing stress on a skeletal structure that is quite literally still soft. It can cause microfractures and malformations that alter the dog's mobility for its entire life.
Wow. That completely explains why relying on, generic internet weight charts is so dangerous for this breed.
Oh, absolutely.
You plug in Great Pyrenees, and a website tells you your dog should weigh exactly 40 pounds at 4 months, but you actually need veterinary guidance. And it's not even about the number on the scale.
No, not at all.
The vet is looking at body condition, right? Physically feeling the ribs to make sure there is only a thin layer of fat over them, checking to see if there is a visible waist tuck from above, watching how the puppy moves. It's a three-dimensional evaluation, not a math equation.
Precisely. And that structural vulnerability ties directly into how you exercise them, too.
Right, because everyone thinks puppies need to run constantly.
Exactly. We have this cultural image of puppies needing to run themselves to absolute exhaustion, but movement for a giant breed needs to be low impact. It's like walking on ice for them.
Yeah. If a heavy-boned puppy is constantly slipping and splaying its legs out, it puts a weird, unnatural torque on those soft joints we just talked about.
It really does.
And let's not forget temperature either. They are incredibly sensitive to heat, even as puppies, because they are already developing a dense undercoat. So shaded outdoor resting spots aren't a luxury. They are an absolute biological necessity.
Right. And if we look at the underlying physiological priority, growth itself is this puppy's primary job right now. The metabolic energy and the physical structure are entirely devoted to building that adult body.
So everything else is secondary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Therefore, the movement and the exercise must support that growth, not compete with it. You aren't conditioning an athlete here. You are constructing a frame.
Okay, so we've carefully built the physical frame.
Yeah.
Hardware is solid. But if they're building a mental database to discern threats, how do they actually process the world around them?
That's the real challenge.
Yeah, let's talk about the software running inside that frame. the guardian instinct.
Yeah.
Because socialization for this breed means something entirely different than what most modern dog owners expect.
It really does. The word socialization in modern dog culture has almost become synonymous with forced extroversion.
Forced extroversion.
Yeah.
Like the dog park mentality.
Yes. People picture a puppy at the dog park, tail wagging, happily greeting every single stranger and playing with every dog it sees. For a Great Pyrenees, that is absolutely not the goal. Trying to force that can actually backfire spectacularly.
Right, because you aren't trying to turn this dog into a golden retriever.
No.
Like, the way I thought about it, if a golden retriever is the friendly greeter at a department store who loves everyone, a Great Pyrenees is the head of security at an exclusive club.
I love that analogy.
Right. A good security guard doesn't stand at the door hugging every single person who walks in. They stand quietly, they watch the crowd, and they know the difference between a regular customer just having a good time and an actual threat.
Hmm.
The ultimate goal for this puppy is discernment.
Discernment is the perfect word. It means the ability to observe, assess, and decide. If we connect this to the bigger picture, you can think of early socialization like training a security camera's artificial intelligence.
Okay, how so?
Well, if you want the AI to alert you only when a burglar is in the yard, you first have to feed it thousands of images of normal, safe things. You have to show it trees blowing in the wind, the mail carrier, stray cats, bicycles.
Oh, I see. So good socialization is just about calm, positive exposure to a massive variety of things.
Yes, exactly.
Different surfaces, loud vacuum cleaners, traffic sounds, people wearing weird hats or carrying umbrellas. You aren't forcing the puppy to be petted by all of them. You're just letting the puppy log them into its mental database calmly.
Precisely. Because without that vast library of calm information, you run into serious behavioral consequences. If you miss this window of exposure, the adult dog will naturally default to suspicion.
Because it doesn't know what's safe.
Right. When a well-socialized guardian sees something new, it consults its database, realizes it's just the neighbor's umbrella, and relaxes.
But without that database, if they haven't seen an umbrella before they weigh 100 pounds, that umbrella isn't just a new object. It is an anomaly.
Yes, an anomaly.
It is a potential threat to their territory, and every unknown triggers an adrenaline spike, and you end up with an unpredictable, highly reactive giant dog making adrenaline-based decisions, which is terrifying.
It is. And how they communicate that threat assessment brings us to their alarm system, which is barking.
Oh boy, the barking.
Yeah, people acquire a guardian breed, and they sometimes think they need to cultivate the protectiveness. So when the puppy barks at a noise at the fence, the owner might say, "Oh, good boy, get him!" Or they act agitated alongside the dog.
Which is a terrible idea, right?
This is a critical error.
Yes. Because you never need to encourage the guardian instinct in a Great Pyrenees. It is already there, deep in the code. If you try to sharpen it, you aren't making them braver. You are just creating a highly anxious, overly aggressive animal.
Exactly.
The trick is shaping the pattern of the behavior. You have to teach a sequence of, what was it? Alert, then settle.
Yes. Alert, then settle. And teaching that sequence requires you to step into the role of a leader. When the dog hears a noise and barks to alert you, you don't yell quiet from the couch.
Right, because if you yell...
If you yell, the dog thinks you're just barking along with them.
That's so funny, but it makes perfect sense.
Right. Instead, you calmly walk over, acknowledge what they're looking at, physically stand between them and the perceived threat, and project calm. You are essentially telling them, "Thank you for the report, I'll take it from here."
But you can never expect total silence. I mean, that is just not an option with this breed.
No, never.
The software comes pre-installed with a very loud alarm, and part of living with them is just accepting that they will use it.
Yes, you have to accept that.
Which kind of leads us to a fundamental shift in how we approach living with them day to day.
Right.
Because managing an independent alarm system requires a totally different kind of training. You simply cannot rely on brute force.
No, you can't. Standard old-school dog training rules simply do not apply here. You cannot demand blind obedience from a creature bred for centuries to think for itself.
Right.
The training skills we usually think of, waiting at doors, polite leash walking, learning to settle on a mat deck, they aren't just cute party tricks. They are safety disguised as manners.
Because the physical reality is undeniable. You cannot muscle a 100-pound dog. If a full-grown Pyrenees wants to pull you through a doorway to chase something, they're going to do it. The compliance has to be cooperative.
And this is exactly why harsh physical corrections or severe scolding are so incredibly damaging to this breed.
Hmm.
If you use physical force, you aren't teaching them a lesson, you are destroying trust.
Because of their background, right?
Yes, let's look at their history. They were bred to be left alone on a mountainside, sometimes for days, protecting a flock of sheep from wolves and bears. If they waited for a human to tell them what to do, the sheep would die.
Wow.
Their entire survival, and the survival of their flock, depends on trusting their own judgment.
So if you harshly correct them, you're basically telling a dog whose DNA says, trust your gut to survive, that their gut is wrong.
Exactly.
That creates a massive internal conflict. It completely breaks the partnership. And they will simply stop trusting you as a reliable guide.
They will view you as erratic and unstable, and an independent dog will not take direction from an unstable source.
Wait, okay. This creates a huge contradiction for me.
Oh, so?
Every basic dog training guide out there says a perfect off-leash recall, like coming every single time you call their name, is the absolute gold standard of a good dog. So if a Pyrenees is off-leash, and I call them, but they ignore me, to go check a perceived threat at the fence line, haven't I failed as a trainer?
It is entirely understandable why you would think that, given conventional dog training wisdom, but with a livestock guardian, it is not a training failure. It is the breed's genetics working perfectly.
Really?
Yes. The dog is doing exactly what it was designed to do, prioritizing the safety of the perimeter over an obedience command. In their mind, stopping a potential threat is infinitely more important than returning to you just because you called.
Wow. That is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You have to accept that you might not ever have that perfect park dog recall.
Oh, really do.
Instead, you build check-in habits. You reward the dog for looking back at you, keeping that connection strong, but you basically rely on secure fencing and long leashes rather than gambling on their obedience when their ancient instincts kick in.
It is about managing reality rather than chasing an impossible ideal. And this management mindset extends to how the dog interacts with everyone in the home too, particularly children and other animals.
Oh, absolutely.
Introductions to livestock or the family cat must be strictly supervised. You have to actively interrupt any chasing behavior before it becomes a game.
And the kids have to be trained too. They must be taught respectful behavior, no pulling ears, no trying to ride the dog like a pony, and absolutely no waking a sleeping puppy. A startled guardian breed is just not something you want to risk with a toddler.
Respect goes both ways. And part of building that mutual respect and trust involves how you handle the dog's body. Grooming desensitization needs to start immediately.
Touching the paws, looking in the ears, opening the mouth. You do it now while they're small so that when they have a massive adult coat, grooming is just a calm, normal part of life.
Exactly.
Plus, it's the mechanism for how you catch ticks, skin issues, or changes in their body condition before it becomes a massive medical problem.
There is one final crucial element of their emotional development that we have to address too. Because we keep using the word independent, people sometimes confuse that with emotionally distant.
But they really aren't distant at all. I mean, independence doesn't mean they don't need you. They need immense emotional security.
Yes, they do.
But because they are stoic, they don't always show anxiety the way a needy lapdog might, like by whining at the door. Instead, an anxious Pyrenees might internalize it, leading to destructive chewing or pacing.
Right. They need you to practice short, calm separations and calm returns. If you make a huge emotional deal out of leaving and coming back, you introduce chaotic energy.
Which ruins the baseline.
Exactly. They need to know that you are a stable, calm presence.
So if we pull all these threads together, the controlled environment, the careful protection of their physical growth, the vast exposure required to build discernment, and the cooperative training, what we are really talking about is guiding a profound process of maturation.
Yes, it's a journey.
It requires an unbelievable amount of patience. You are raising this puppy and guiding a guardian, while that guidance is still a choice for them. Because if you wait until they're 90 pounds to start teaching leash manners or boundary respect, it is no longer guidance.
No, it's not.
It's a physical negotiation, and it's one the dog is going to win. The growth isn't just happening in the long bones of their legs, it's happening in their judgment. Every single day, you are taking raw, ancient instinct and carefully molding it to fit into modern life.
Beautifully said.
You are not raising a giant teddy bear, no matter how soft they are at 10 weeks old. You are giving their independence a safe shape.
This raises an important question, one that I think extends far beyond just dog ownership. We spend so much time in our modern world demanding instant, unquestioning compliance.
We really do.
We demand it from our technology, from our pets, and sometimes even from each other. But there is a profound beauty and a real challenge in cultivating a relationship with a creature whose greatest asset is its ability to think for itself. A creature that might occasionally look at a situation and decide that its own judgment is actually better than your command.